marketing was shared, the publicity was shared. Everybody was like connecting their audiences to their audiences. And it looked like there was a framework within which it worked. That's one of the reasons why collaborations work, that we all agreed that this chair is blue, and it doesn't matter if we came from the same family, the chair is blue, and that's the end of the conversation. That's my contribution to that. Yeah.
So speaking of this whole family thing, one of the things that is important in knowing how to sustain your business as a creative is knowing who you want to bring into the business, be it a family member or not. Right? We have had people who started up a family business, and when they died, the business crashed because nobody that is in the family bought the vision of that business. They just came in because, oh, it's my father's supermarket. After school, all of us were coming to come and sell and all of that. But when your father died, you couldn't sustain the business because one, you didn't buy into the vision. Two, he didn't teach you the ropes. You just felt like, oh, because it's the family business, this is where my allowance comes from, then I have to show up. It was not a passion for you. So as a creative, I think it's important that whoever you want in the line of your creativity, if you want it to be sustained, if you want it to outlive you, all of the terms and conditions need to be spelled out. I believe that I'm very correct. Okay, so now I'm going to open up the floor to our audience. Please ask questions. We do not have so much time. All right, that's one. Any other question? Anybody else wants to ask a question? All right, one and only question.
All right, so let me be fast. So there's a problem I see in Jos.
All right.
And like Mr. Herbert rightfully said, every one of us in Jos love Jos. Everybody in Jos really love Jos and wants to do something for Jos. So, but the problem is we don't want to collaborate. So when an individual comes out to do something, everybody now wants to give a review. We don't come out to collaborate. We all love the town, but we want to individually do things. So when someone comes out, we begin to criticize unconstructively. So it is a problem. One example is the Incredible Music Festival now. I remember seeing a lot of reviews and people complaining that these people are not helping, these people are doing this stuff for themselves and all that. So what could be the thing that we are missing out? What could be what we are not understanding? Because, I mean, this is one of the few states, aside Lagos, that people come out of this state, become really huge, and still come back, want to invest. Go to other states, nobody comes back. People in Kaduna, they don't want to identify. So, these people come back, and then we want to criticize without really thinking through or looking through their lenses and understand the thing they're trying to do in the town. So what could be what we're missing out? What could be the problem of us in this town that is causing this kind of actions?
All right, I think each and every one of you should answer from your perspective, since this is the only question that we have.
The problem is poverty. Yeah. So poverty breeds competition that is unhealthy. It clouds your mind from seeing other stars, so you would want the focus to be you. And that is why when somebody is doing something great, instead of you to see creatives come around the person, they want to see the issues with that thing he's doing. And partly that is why we don't have a lot of creatives here. I say it the way it feels, because if we really love what is going on here, we will be here. But then because it's not my clique that is doing it, because it's not my father's neighbor that is doing it, because the speakers are not my grandparents, so I wouldn't want to come because it is their thing. But when the spotlight is on us, our family, people will come around. So it is poverty. And once you have a poverty mentality, you begin to criticize almost everybody, even people bigger than you. I saw the criticism about the festival. I'm like, dude, what's going on? Like, these guys are giving back to community. But then you couldn't do anything. You're just waiting to criticize. So how we can deal with this thing is that
even the free tickets that we're giving,
yes,
you didn't use it to attend.
that our city will shine brighter if there are many little stars that are shining. So you don't have to say, if it is not my own corner, it's not, all of us should go and shine. We'll grow better. Thank you.
Okay. Amazing, amazing. Emmy.
Fly.
Okay, please say that again.
I say I think the sky is big enough for everybody to fly.
Absolutely.
So let's collaborate.
Let's
Basically.
all fly.
Let's all fly. It's big enough for everybody. So
All right.
yeah.
Now I feel like I may be in a slightly different position because my organization organized the festival. And yes, we did hear...
Okay, but that's just a case study, though.
Yes,
yeah.
So I can tell you real-time feedback that we had, and I can maybe provide some light on how we can think about it differently. There's a sense in which, and at some, maybe I would say that maybe put up some of my slides so that I can show the point. When we speak about collaboration, value exchange is one of the ways to collaborate. Many people don't understand what value exchange is. Many of us approach those sorts of conversations from an entitlement sort of space, right? And I think Nigeria somehow has conditioned us to think that way. So we relate with private individuals the way we should relate with government, right? So we show up with the mindset. Honestly, if we had the same sort of energy towards government, we would get far better results because they are custodians of many of the things that we feel private individuals should be doing for us. I listened to the government folk this morning talk about the need for collaboration, even with them, to raise funds for some of the things that we need to collectively see. And the reason why this is important is that if you don't make a case, nobody respects you. As an alumni of the SPPG, they used to tell you that God is God, everybody else brings data. So if you are not God, bring data, and then everybody can rest. Because people who spend money don't spend money because they like you necessarily, except they're your dad. In the business world that exists, somebody has to make a case for a thing for somebody else to bring the money for the thing to happen. So we think about Lagos and how supposedly easy it is to do collaborations in Lagos. It's not. Lagos is sitting on years and years and years of collaborative activity, of all of us crowdfunding things and making a case, and crowdfunding things and making a case. Now all of us want to go to Lagos. I've lived in Lagos, I've run away and come back. Because, and I think we can leave it here, because all my points are on this one slide. This is actually a photo of Jos somewhere, taken by Musa Tukura maybe 5 years ago. Right? I stole it from his Facebook, and I have determined that I'm going to go and fight with him because I can't see any recent photos anymore of Plateau State. Yes, he has gone, but we can do things from around the world. What we need to recognize is that what value exchange means is that if somebody shows up in a place and says, hey, our field looks like we can plant corn, that everybody who has 1 grain shows up and says, here's my 1 grain, here's my 1 grain, here's my 1 grain. What typically happens is that we are waiting for one person to collect all the money from wherever we think they're getting it from and then bring it back. And often we're able to back it up by saying we grew up on the same street. Right? So we assume that because we all grew up in the same space, that we have made the same sort of contribution into life, and that somebody is unfairly rewarded in some way, and that because they are now unfairly rewarded, they owe all of us who grew up on the same street some sort of benefit. And that thing, I don't know, I'm a middle belt child. So that thing is the same thing in our culture where when one family member becomes professor, the remaining ones will not go to school again because we have one professor in our family and let's kill him with the bills. Right? That thing is translating itself into the way we transact in business. So when a person shows up and says, I have access to this door, I want to open the door, but I'm going to have to push an elephant on the back of the door. Help me push the door. Everybody's like, but you're already at the door now. Push the door and whatever else. And that mindset is chewing away from us in Plateau State. If we think about any number of things, hotels, restaurants, hiking, I was so happy to see hiking people. hiking, spas, travel and logistics. The ecosystem for tourism is so wide, and everybody knows that it's creative people that change the world. We know, I hope you do. Because everybody is like, the carpet is straight, let's leave it. The creative people are, what if we put another carpet on top of the carpet? And so, what Emmy says around there being space enough to fly is true, but the reason why people can't relate to it is because people don't understand big transactions. We're very quickly, and Herbert is correct, it's poverty that causes it. Because when you think that the world is the size of this room, all of us in this room will start contending for one tile on the floor. And then we'll beat each other to the point that last, nobody got the tiles. We're all outside, or the building has even collapsed. And we need to, as a people, business people, government people, private sector creatives, we need to undo that thing. It has robbed us for the longest time. I'm a huge fan of K-drama right now. The only reason why I'm going to South Korea is on my bucket list. It's on my bucket list now. Is that somewhere between the movies, the dancing, all those makeup people, glass skin, philosophy, everything, I have started learning the language. Do you understand? I've picked up the language. We'll be greeting each other like that now. And they have told you a story of where they are at. I wish the government people were still around, but I know that we will tell them. Many times we're obsessed with finding a solution for the future, but many of the solutions in Plateau State already exist. Who is tired of seeing Lekki Bridge in a movie? Like, that's CMS or Third Mainland. Fola has not helped us. There are more shots from Lagos. Who here is a just person that knows for fact that the streets at Guratop will beat half of those locations they show us online? If you've been on ground in Lagos, you will know that some of the sceneries, shout out to Lagos, it's my second town, I love them. Many of the sceneries we see on TV that is like, I have to move to Lagos to succeed. If you show up there, in the place where they took that shot, no, you'll be on the next bus back. Because you're like, this place, never. Plateau State does not need to create new things. The thing that we need to strive already exists. The locations already exist. The photos, like the one I showed, the one that Emmy probably has a whole drive full of, already exist. The tech people already exist. The musicians were here. The performance people were here. I was telling one of my new friends in the room, and I hope he's still around, that Tyler Perry built a $1 billion industry on theater. We used to watch theater in Plateau State when we were children. We used to walk from old campus, Bauchi Road campus, at 3 a.m. in the morning, yelling at the top of our voices on our way home after watching production put up by 200 level students. That's the exact same thing that Tyler Perry built a whole $1 billion industry that we're clapping for him about. The thing is already here. Our museum that is sitting in the middle of town is the first of its kind in this country. People travel to France to padlock a bridge so that their love will last forever. A random bridge, right? So while we're here, and I really, really respect that government has policies and processes and bureaucracies, and we are available, I'm sure everybody here is, to do what we can to contribute to that process. We need to stop doing see-finish for the things living in our backyard. People think I was photoshopped into my wedding photo. It was taken at the corner where there's a gas plant at Guratop, near the lake by the tree. People thought I was photoshopped into it. And if in the everyday, I saw the social media people talk about it, if in the everyday posting that we do, in the everyday, I heard there's fashion show, let's go there and find out what they are doing. Oh, I heard there's festival, what are they even doing there? And that we go there with the mindset to be contributory, nobody beats us in Plateau State. For tourism, for educated people, for bougie people, for, our winter coats, style and fashion, food, and that if we just looked at the ecosystem and said that Plateau State can be the size of whatever it is that we can dream up and do together, and that if we connected our coins, because nobody's bringing the money, if we connected all our coins from somewhere, that we do something big. So yes, please join us at the festival. There's still plenty work
All right.
to be done.
Please, can we put our hands together for our amazing panelists? Okay, so before I get your final thoughts, this is to every creative in this room. I know that you want to be seen, you want to be heard, you want someone to just see something you're putting out and just be like, this guy is spectacular. I want to pour my money into you. I want to invest. But my question to you this evening is, how much are you putting into developing yourself as a creative? It's not just about shouting that there are no fundings and all of that. How much are you putting into yourself? Or you're just sitting in your room in Tudunwada. I'm so sorry, Tudunwada people. You're just sitting in your room, and you're not just sitting in your room. You're sitting in one corner of your room on your laptop because you have data, and you're just, do you understand what I'm saying? You're not putting out your craft, you're not developing your craft, you're not connecting with the right people. You're not sitting in this room right now where after now, whoever you've met, if someone is sitting in a room that matters, if someone asks for, I want to travel to Yankari, I promise you the first person that comes to my mind is Ephraim.
I actually want to go.
Okay, she wants to go to Yankari.
Again.
Pay your tithes to me. Yes. Do you understand what I'm talking about? How much are you putting into yourself? If I want a wedding photographer, he's here. He and his cohorts that sometimes used to want to frustrate our lives, they are sitting down here in this room. If I want someone who is into digital and tech and all of those things, the first person that will come to your mind is who you're always seeing putting out their crafts. So you cannot say that, I'm putting in so much work and there's no results and all. I'm sorry, but who are you showing your craft? How much are you pouring into it? You need to spend money to make money. And sometimes the money you need to spend is people or are people. How much do you leverage on relationships? Or because we're talking about collaboration now, some of you need to go back and sit down and write the list of people that you are cancelled.
Oh, wow.
And start telling them, and start sending back those DMs and be like, hi, it's been a long time. When can we meet up and all of those things? Don't take those relationships for granted. That's what I'm going to say. As much as you're going to leverage on them, don't take them for granted. Don't ride on people. Don't abuse those privileges, right? I know how much relationships have taken me to places where I did not even dream that I'll be sitting in those rooms. So, who's Matthew? We're going to have let's have a timeout after this, right? It's very important. And I also know people who have leveraged on relationships, abused those relationships, and today they are an island typically. So to every creative in this room, how much are you investing in yourself? How much are you willing to go for? I'm not saying illegally. The legal route. We have lawyers here. If there's any illegal thing, if they remember your face from here, I'm sure they'll jump on the case, right? So how much, if you don't take anything from here, please remember that you need to put in as much as you want to get from anybody, right? Okay, so please let's get your final thoughts.
First of all, I want to thank everybody that stayed this long.
As a matter of fact, please put your hands together for yourselves. You've been here since morning. That's amazing. And this also goes to say that people in JOS want to learn, right? We want what's better for our state. So that's why you stayed this long. Thank you so much.
And then secondly, I want to emphasize on something that Naomi has said. Social capital is very important. Your network is your net worth. For those of us who will choose to cancel people, cancel relationships, please review. That's where the collaboration starts. That from your small circle, you begin to connect with people and build something very big. That our engagement as creatives should go beyond just meetings into creating something of value. We're tired of having meetings. We're tired of conversations. We're tired of let's meet at so-so kitchen, let's meet at so-so restaurant to discuss. Can we start creating? When we create, that is when we're going to make money out of it. If you don't create anything, you're not going to get money. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you very much, Mr. Herbert.
Conclusion, as creatives, let's embrace collaboration as a source of inspiration and strength. Let's leverage the power of partnerships to push boundaries of our craft and meaningful impact on the world around us. Thank you.
That was matchstick straight to the point. Like I said what I said. If you like, don't hear. That kind of thing.
Usually a mark of very intelligent people.
Yes.
Intelligent people get away with just saying 2 lines. Very 2 lines. Last words. I think that part of our collective challenge as a community is that we like to talk about our city, and almost in the way that a protective parent covers a child till the child smothers and dies. Maybe we need to admit to ourselves that we're beginning to do a bit of that, that we are preserving the childlike narratives that we have of the enjoyments, and every generation has it, of what we enjoyed about Jos and what we enjoyed about Jos. And we're not willing to make the sort of changes that gets us where we need to go. I said this because I was sitting in a conversation at a barbecue. You Jos people, we know that we're barbecue people. We were sitting at one of our barbecues. The barbecue that started with 5 people and ended up with 100 people. We were sitting at one of those barbecues, and we were having a wild conversation about whether Jos needs to be more like Lagos or Lagos needs to be more like Jos, and we went back and came back and came back. And one of the things that occurred to me is that we want to keep Jos the way it is because there's a part of us that likes it. But then there's the other part that wants it to be successful and metropolitan, and we may be struggling with reconciling how those 2 parts work together. My response to that usually is that there's London, and then there's Dublin, and then there's New York, and then there's Kansas, and then like a place can be modern and whatever else and not lose the essence of what it is. We need to be able to mentally separate what it is that we're talking about. There's no need for Jos to become like Lagos in the physical, in the look and feel, in the culture. We don't need to change anything about our niceness and our love for barbecues and all of that. We just need to ensure that those things are viable things that bring the world to Jos, that allow our people to not be poor, and that we will be sitting in nice penthouses, eating fresh vegetables from downstairs, and that everybody on that building can afford their child's school fees, easy peasy. Jos can become the place where all of your abroad dreams come true without having to lose the connection of we shouted over the neighbor to call somebody's child 2 steps down the road. And that in challenging, first of all, our individual mindsets about the things we actually like, which we talk about, that we are also thinking about how do we create wealth without losing ourselves. Because there's no sense in which we are going to create a parallel universe. There are principles around business, there are principles around prosperity, there are principles about wealth that are not going to change because we are all nice and communal people. Those things need to remain. We need to get into the contact spot of figuring out what our brother wants and what he doesn't want, how far we can collaborate, how far we can't, what mileage we get, what mileage we don't, and still be the same people at barbecue fires, so that maybe at our barbecues, we're not arguing about whether we should look like Jos or Lagos, but at our barbecues, we're arguing about whose private jets we are flying to go and do some exploration somewhere.
Right. Please, can we put our hands together for them one more time? And so as a closing note from me, I would say that as a teen of pride and joy, in the past 2 years, I don't think I have patronized anything or anyone that is not from Jos. Yes.
Wow.
Well, apart from my glasses. But even the glasses, I went to an ophthalmologist here in Jos, recommended, and they got it for me. So I need to make that one clear. Apart from my glasses, everything I'm putting on today is from somebody in Jos. Proudly made in Jos. So my own closing note will be, renew your mindset, Stay creative, stay consistent. Collaboration over competition, build meaningful relationships. It will definitely pay off. Thank you very much for listening to all of us speak. My appreciation to Mr. Herbert Daniel, Mr. Emmanuel Akpa, and Ms. Jennifer Agaldo. Thank you so much.